I'm going to talk about the five elements. What are they? So, a lot of people know them in feng shui. There's earth, water, fire, wood, and metal. So, they each play a different role and function in our bodies. This is how we categorize things, basically. So, we are looking at the idea is that all five elements need to work together in harmony. If one of the elements is off and it is chronically off, it's going to throw all the other elements out. So basically, it's a cyclical nature of a big picture. So the best way to describe the five elements is by the seasons, because that's just what we know. If you live in New York, like I do, we go through different phases. So and even with birth and until death, like there's phases. So the five elements represent the cyclical nature of our bodies, but they also represent different categories of where we need to focus within ourselves. So I'm going to start with metal. So metal has to do with the aspect of letting go of things. So metal is the lung, large intestine meridian, and it starts with the fall time, so you're releasing things. If you think about the leaves coming down, so metal element has to do with releasing. The next phase after metal has to do with the winter, so you think of like kidney meridian, where you're, the energy of the water element. So water is very reflective, but can be, if you think down into the deep waters, metal element has to do with like your kidney and your bladder meridian, which helps, a lot of the water aspects of our bodies. Next phase after winter or water phase is the springtime, because now there is new life, birth of new life. It represents the liver and the gallbladder meridian, which is very, if you think about spring sprouting up, you think about how much the energy of the plants that need to, in order to spurt out of the ground, like there's so much uprush of energy. So that represents the wood aspect of the phases, new life, beginnings. The next phase after spring would be summer, so which is fire. If you think about passion and think about the summertime, it's very lively. It's more the most yang. There's a lot of sun out. So fire elements represents our heart, and our small intestine has to do with helping to release things, but also our passions for life. So that's the fire aspect of the five elements. And then the last but not least phase is the earth element, which you can call it Indian summer. It's like that end of the summer where it can get a little bit damp. And in some diagrams, it's actually the center of the five elements. They say that Earth is the more even-keeled, and it actually represents our body's pivot. We call it the pivot. It's where the stomach and the spleen. It's where our body intakes the nutrients and then distributes them throughout the body. So the five phases represent a big whole picture of our bodies, and in our bodies, when we're diagnosing, we are kind of seeing which elements are off, because there are many different patterns and signs to see different parts of our bodies that are off balance. So this is really important in helping to diagnose your own energy. In addition to the five elements, there are actually five archetypes. So the five elements have to do with your body, but then there are five different types of archetypes, because each element carries a different emotion and personality behind it. And that's what's so fun about, if you took the quiz, it's really fun to identify different types of people. We need to have different types of people for life to be pretty amazing and fun. We don't all want to be the same, and we all represent a different role in society and community. So it's really fun to see what your archetype is, because it'll help you to understand yourself and what some of your weaknesses are and what some of your strengths are, and how you can represent yourself in community and society. So those are the five elements. If you have any questions, please reach out to me in the Facebook group, the 5 Element Freedom Fighters, and I'd love to help you in any way that I can.